we left off, you were just driving up in a truck, driving up to the front lines in Italy. So let's talk about when you finally got up to the front lines. Tell me what
Driving up
happened.
the old Highway 65. Remember that one? And they stopped off, and believe it or not, it started to rain, drizzled. My first night on the line, it started to rain. We had to climb up this big mountain that they had taken that afternoon. And we climbed up, and we got up there. It was an awful climb because it was on the hillside, no road, no steps, just pulling yourself up with the twigs and branches and roots. And it took about a half hour to get up that hill. I'll show you sometime. I'll show you the picture of that hill. I have it in my camera. Anyway, we got up there, and after we got up there, the sergeant told us, okay, just standing where you are, lay down and try to get some sleep. The rain was coming down, very light, but it was coming down. So I just dropped right down, pulled my raincoat over my head, which didn't keep the rain out, incidentally, and tried to get some sleep. I didn't get any, of course. And pretty soon, it was dawn. And we got up and dusted ourselves off. And I think they brought us something, a warm meal to eat. And incidentally, they brought us up the food and ammunition with some Italian pack mule company, because it was in the mountains.
How about that?
Yeah, we could hear them coming a mile away.
Oh, great. That's helpful.
Flying and the Italian guys, mule guys, were cussing in Italian and yelling at them. And anyway, we ate something, and we could look over at the next hill, and we could see the Germans over there walking around. I guess they could see us too. We didn't bother them, and they didn't bother us. I sat there for a while with my sergeant, and I looked with his binoculars he was showing. We were looking at him, and he looked like a bunch of nice fellows.
So when did you start? Let's talk about the first time you fired your gun at the other guy. Let's talk about that.
Well, it was probably within the next few days. We wasn't too much long after that. We were always getting into firefights, and they didn't usually last too long. One of us would get the heck out of there. Either us would get back, or they would.
Is this during the day or at night or both?
Daytime.
Daytime only?
Nighttime is very seldom. You never shot a rifle at night because you couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
So it was a waste of time. And so any fighting we did was in the daytime. And that's about all it was. Did most of the time, all we did was walked because they were retreating. And we got up to that town of Livorno, which I stopped in, and that's where they stopped us cold. All of a sudden, us who were back behind a little ways, start seeing guys coming back on stretchers, which meant they were stopped and they were shooting us as we showed up. So we stopped, and that's where we stayed. By that time, it was maybe close to December
of 1944.
44.
Okay.
Happened to be the coldest winter on record in Europe. 44. It was awful. So from then on, we stayed in a static position, and about all we would do would go on night patrols at night, which were nightmares because you couldn't see anything. You'd just go forward until somebody shot at you. Then you'd get out and you'd say, we went this place, and they shot at us, so we'd know where their position was.
How many times did you walk point on something like that?
Every time.
How about that?
I was one of the designated first scout.
Oh, there's a dubious honor.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I hated it. I didn't do it every time, but almost.
Yeah.
Me and Giordano were the last guys in to join our platoon, so that we're the ones that got
Oh,
picked on
right.
the most.
Right.
Zema, Giordano, Scots forward, you know.
Uh-huh.
And we'd have to run up, no questions asked. We'd go up in front, and we would go up and keep our eyes peeled for German. If we saw anybody, we'd give a signal, and the whole army would drop to its on the ground. You would look back, you would see us all.
So you were using hand signals
Oh,
back
everything
then
was
as
hand
well.
signals, sure.
Yeah.
This meant come up on a run. I forget the other hand signals,
Yeah.
but we had hand signals for
Mhm.
everything here. That meant they were over there. This meant they were over here.
Yeah. Now tell me about the time you walked into a barn one time,
Yeah,
and there was some Germans in there.
Oh yeah, that was later on in the war. I'll get to that.
Okay,
later.
we'll get there.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll get there.
Okay.
But anyway, from then on, the whole winter it was just patrols and trying to keep warm. They issued us white pack parkas so we could lay in the snow. It started snowing incidentally after that.
Mm-hmm.
We were in the mountains, and it was November, December,
Yeah.
and
Now, are you like? Would you say you're north of Florence by this time?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, not quite in the Po Valley,
Mm-hmm.
and we could see the Po Valley from our mountaintop. All that flat country, which was perfect tank country.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't use any tanks up in the mountains.
Right.
Everything had to be
Mm-hmm.
rifles and bayonets. And so anyway, we stayed there the whole winter. Part of that winter, I stayed in the hospital because everybody was coming down with jaundice and kidney problems. And I spent a few months in the hospital myself, and because they had no cure for it. The only cure they had for it was rest and vitamins, which they fed us constantly.
Yeah.
It didn't take long. A couple months, you're back on your feet.
Well, that's quite a long
Yeah.
time.
Oh, yeah. So it was back to the front line by April of the following year.
So now we're in 1945 now.
1945.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, the skies was full of B-17 American bombers from horizon to horizon. I never saw so many airplanes in the sky at one time.
Mm-hmm.
American airplanes going north to bomb the Germans. I guess they bombed them day and night, and we knew it was going to be the last battle of the war.
And there was no resistance, I take it, from the Luftwaffe by this time.
By that time, the Luftwaffe was non-extinct. They used to come out at night and strafe us and bomb us once in a while.
Yeah.
We were never gone altogether. They were always there.
Mm-hmm.
They used to cut their engines and just glide over our lines, and they'd drop a parachute bomb, and it floated down. You couldn't see it, couldn't hear it. When it hit the ground, it would click. You could hear the click of the thing arming itself. As soon as we heard that click, down we went.
Was that a loud click, or was it loud
Oh
enough for
yeah, it
everybody
was
to
loud. You could hear it a mile away.
hear? Wow.
Big click, and go down, zoom, and kaboom! That thing exploded.
How big of a bomb do you think it was?
Not too big because it was on a parachute.
Yeah.
Big as an Anna person.
I mean, like a 100-pound bomb?
Yeah,
or-
something like that.
Yeah.
Probably this big.
Uh-huh.
That big.
Oh, probably not even 100 pounds.
Yeah, just enough to.
A lot of
like to
shrapnel,
say.
probably.
Yeah.
And they just drop one of those or several of those?
They dropped one at each area. Yeah.
Uh,
They go and drop one somewhere else.
mhm.
Yeah. And speaking of American airplanes, I don't know how many times I sat in my foxhole and watched our P-47s strafing the next hillside,
Yeah.
going back, and they'd strafe, and then come around and they'd drop a napalm bomb,
Really?
and that thing would burn like a football field length,
Uh-huh.
just fire. Nobody could live.
I didn't
under
realize they had napalm in World War
that. Oh
II.
yeah, sure. I watched it all the time.
Wow.
Another time we saw an American P-47 get after one of the German planes,
Mm-hmm.
and he shot him down.
Huh.
Yeah, and we didn't see him crash, but we saw smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And it was two P-47s against one Messerschmitt.
Oh, well.
And but the one guy got on his tail and he wiggled his wings like that, and the second one peeled off. He got out of the way, and that guy's brrrr, and just smoke started coming out of that.
You probably saw a lot of airplane. Did you see a lot of airplane activity?
No, not
Really?
a lot.
There was not.
A
There
lot
was,
of American activity.
Yeah, right.
But,
You never really saw any dogfights. Just a few. Like,
No, just that one.
Just that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And at nighttime, especially when we were moving up later on, the Germans would send out spotter planes, and they would fly real low, down as low as the road, and we could see the guy. We'd just sit still at nighttime. Nobody moved, and the plane would go by. You could see the pilot in there
Huh.
looking for us. He couldn't see
In
anything.
pitch black?
Oh yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
But his instruments were lit up. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. How
I
about
could see
that?
him, but he couldn't see us. And he just go right along. Oh God, I wanted to shoot him. you know.
Yeah.
He was that close.
Yeah.
Looked like a guy sitting on an airplane up
Mhm.
in a Piper Cub.
Right, right.
Well, how come you didn't?
Oh, we couldn't make any noise. And perfectly quiet.
Yeah.
And they'd see us anyway. They'd strafe. They
Yeah.
could see us.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, that finally came springtime for the big push, and we moved right up. We were on that bend where I showed you our foxhole was, and at 9 o'clock at night, we opened up with all our cannons. It was really something to see,
Yeah, what'd that look like?
just like 4th of July here
Mm-hmm.
at the park,
Yeah.
only 10 times longer.
How about that? Wow.
And then at 9:15 or whatever time they told us, or 10 o'clock, we charged over the clock
At night?
at nighttime,
Oh.
9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And they met us with withering machine gun fire. I mean, like tracer bullets were going by me, so I could have lit a cigarette off of them. Just a solid line of white.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you'd have held a cigarette out, you could have lit it. We just ate dirt, boom, straight
Yeah.
down.
Uh-huh.
They pinned us down. We kind of dropped back. Next morning, we went up in broad daylight, and of course, it was a flat area there, and it was nothing but minefields, and that's when we lost I don't know how many guys. And,
Yeah. Tell me about what's that experience like walking through
oh,
a
it's
minefield?
terrible, terrible. Just guys all of a sudden flying in the air. One guy stepped on one and blew his foot off. He went up in the air, came down, he landed on another one,
Oh boy.
and it blew him apart.
Like he landed on his stomach on
Yeah.
it? Oh, that's
Oh, it's
awful.
terrible.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we saw guys just terrible. That guy that I showed you his picture, that's where he got killed. Yeah.
Hmm.
He kept telling us, we're all going to get killed, we're all going to get killed.
Mm-hmm.
The night before, he was the only one that got killed, him and his partner.
Yeah.
Anyway, out of 15 of our, by the time this was all over, 15 in our squad, there was only 6 of us alive.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Boy, that's pretty bad.
Oh, it was terrible.
That's pretty bad. Were there any of them that you were especially close to, or just?
Yeah, but he was okay.
Yeah, right. The one guy, of course, Tommy.
Yeah, he was okay.
He was okay.
We lost officers and sergeants.
Yeah.
So
Was it just various things like shot? They got shot.
most of
Stepped
them
on a mine.
bombs. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must be pretty rough. If you're laying in your foxhole, for example, and you hear,
Oh, it come
Artillery
in, all you
coming.
can do is wait for it.
yeah,
Hope it lands over there.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Sometimes they land so close it felt like somebody hit you in the nose.
Hmm.
I don't know if you ever got bumped in the nose and it just,
Yeah, that concussion.
oh yeah. That's what it felt like for
Mhm.
a bomb to go off close by.
Yeah.
So anyway, by that afternoon they had broken through on either side of us.
The Allies.
Yeah,
Okay.
the other divisions.
Yeah.
So we got up and got on that road that we drove on, and we walked on both sides of the road, and away we went down into the Po Valley,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where the fun began. We were chasing the Germans. By that time we got on trucks, and going as fast as they could go. They were on trucks too.
Uh-huh.
We was trying to catch them,
Yeah.
and the whole Fifth Army was just moving up and shooting. Then once in a while they'd catch up, and there'd be a battle, and
Mm-hmm.
of course we always won.
Okay, we're going to stop for now. We'll come right back to that spot next
Okay,
time.
good.